Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and we have had a pretty good couple of days here, if not more. This market is over $2.2 trillion on CoinMarketCap, and I wanted to show you what XRP's done in the last 24 hours or so. In the middle of the night, I actually rolled over and saw, I think I saw $1.92. This thing wanted to get to $2 so bad, but it's gone as high as $1.96. Exciting times, folks. Now, this is a chart that I saw this morning that looked interesting. Again, anytime I bring up charts, I'm not a chart guy. These aren't my predictions. These are just guys showing some of their technical analysis, and I find it interesting, and so I think you will too. Hi there, I'm sure you remember below $1.33 coffee cup. Now let's go further. This is what he's referring to, one of his old tweets where he was calling for $1.33 XRP with what this thing he calls this is some kind of TA called coffee cups. Now he's drawing another coffee cup right here, and he is calling for a $99. Now, is that possible? I hope it's possible. New target, $99.42. So he says, so you know the upcoming targets. Today we have a new coffee cup. There can be corrections, but in the end, XRP will be $99. Enjoy your coffees. Well, all I can say to you, I can't tell you that I think it's going, well, I can't tell you that he's right that it's going to go to $99, but I can tell you that that's the kind of numbers I'm here for. That and beyond. That's just me personally. Okay, now there's another interesting point made by the Crypto Bull 2020. He says, in this chart, I overlaid Bitcoin's growth over the last months, comparing it to the percentage growth of XRP. In previous bull runs, XRP outperformed Bitcoin. Just to catch up to Bitcoin in this bull run, the XRP price would be $36. So that's interesting too. Now, I mean, history doesn't always repeat, but in my opinion, and this is purely my opinion, XRP is a coiled spring more than it was in any of those, because with this SEC lawsuit, which is, in my opinion, bogus, the second that you get any kind of a favorable settlement or any kind of a settlement, do you know what the price would have to do? I mean, I think that's what most people anticipate. I know I do. Okay, now today the Bitcoin maxis get to do their rounds on CNBC, and it's good and not bad, but it's good because this is good exposure for crypto. Unfortunately, none of the Bitcoin maxis will mention XRP or Ripple in any kind of good context because they're terrified of XRP. And I'll show you why in a second. I've shown you before, but Coinbase is going public. So here's Brian Armstrong, the Coinbase CEO.
Interestingly, more institutions are now buying into cryptocurrencies, both large companies like Tesla, but also hedge funds like Dan Loeb's Third Point. I asked Brian how he sees the mix of retail versus institutional investors in 2 or 3 years from now, and what kind of competition he's expecting from Wall Street.
We're storing over $200 billion of crypto, which is about 11% of all the crypto in the world, and about half of that is actually from our institutional customers. Also, roughly about half of our trading volume is from our institutional customers, and this business is a lot newer for us than our retail business. The institutional business is only about 2 years old, and we're still earlier in our process of monetizing that customer segment. But, you know, just kind of zooming out from a macro point of view, I think the majority of money in the world is actually tied up in institutions. I think it's maybe 80 or 90%. And so we expect that business to be really big over time. Having that kind of foundation of a trusted and compliant platform is really essential for that. And just to the last part of your question about, you know, how do we expect other firms out there in Wall Street or otherwise to respond? I mean, what's great is that many of them are now getting into crypto, which is what we had always hoped, because we want crypto to be integrated into every aspect of the financial system. I think some of them are going to build those solutions in-house, and we may have opportunities to actually power some of those underlying solutions, whether it's custody or trading, for some of those other firms as well. Because, of course, it is a really hard technology problem. How do you integrate with these blockchains? How do you store cryptocurrencies securely? It's a very different problem than, say, using the DTCC to store securities. So that gives you a little bit of a picture about how the institutional space might evolve.
Okay, and here's another clip from him right here.
When it comes to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, who's been very critical of crypto, and Fed Chairman Jay Powell, I asked Brian if he thinks they understand the crypto world.
In general, crypto is a very new space, and people are working to get up to speed on it in every way. I think one of the big things that's not well known out there yet today, there's still some folks that are in this mindset of, hey, this must be mostly used for illicit transactions. And I always kind of cringe a little bit when I see that, because frankly, it just doesn't match the data underneath. If you look at the third-party blockchain analytics firms, and there was a report kind of published today by the Crypto Council for Innovation that looked at this. Our best estimates are that less than 1% of all transactions in crypto are for illicit purposes. And by the way, in the traditional economy, certainly with cash, PwC estimates it's as high as 4% is for illicit transactions. And in the broader economy, it could be anywhere from 2 to 4%. So, the data we have just indicates that crypto is really not uniquely crime-ridden. In fact, the data suggests it's better than cash in that regard. So these are the kinds of conversations that we need to increasingly go have with our partners in government. And I think we just want to be a helpful resource to talk to them about this new emerging technology and what are the opportunities it's going to create. That's honestly, it's far more interesting to look at the opportunities while also being very thoughtful about mitigating any risks.
In terms, though, of risks, real risks, even existential risks to the business, where does regulation lie to you in terms of how regulators think about cryptocurrency?
Yeah, so I think it's one of the biggest ones. It's right up there with cybersecurity. It's the couple biggest ones that I think about. And especially now that Coinbase is a public company, we're going to increasingly be having scrutiny about what we're doing, and people want to understand the implications of it. And so we're very happy to engage, just as we have been over the last 9 years, really, since the start of the company.
Okay, I'm going to go on to the next one. Let's see. No, that one's not that interesting. I wanted to go show you what Mike Novogratz saying. And by the way, Mike Novogratz, when I was watching, did not bring up Ripple or XRP, once again, because he's terrified of it.
Well, if there were some private trades that went off at much higher numbers, what you just think that it's more prudent just to bring it here or to have 65 billion? Because that's not 100. It's like 50% from 100.
Let's see where it settles in when it starts trading. Those private markets were pretty small and there weren't a lot of liquidity. And so listen. I remember in 2013 I was begging Fred Ursham to let me invest at an 80 million valuation, and it was the great fish that got away because they ended up picking Union Square Ventures and Andreessen and now if it's 65 or 100 billion, it's been a spectacular ride for the investors and for Brian and his team. I think there is going to be a lot of demand from institutional equity market investors for a stock like Coinbase.
I think he's right. Let's see. Now watch this from him.
We had a long discussion earlier about that I'm willing, 2.5% to buy a Bitcoin with a huge spread versus setting up my own whole deal and figuring it out. It's worth it, but that's not going to stay like that. There's just no way. It's going to be driven down to like everything at some point. Wouldn't you think? And so what's the growth like?
The amount of talent coming into this space, the amount of competition coming into this space is going to drive prices, right? But don't forget the amount of innovation. Like Coinbase isn't a fintech company, right? It's a crypto ecosystem company. And none of us really understand how big the TAM of that ecosystem is, right? All of a sudden, out of nowhere comes NFTs, which is going to be a huge part of the crypto economy. And so I think right now, total crypto wealth is roughly $2 trillion. So that's 0.5% of all wealth. If you don't think in the next 2 to 3 years that can be 2 to 3%, you're not paying attention to the trends. And so the amount of growth that we're going to see in our space is staggering. We're just getting started. And what's important is
I agree with that too.
Institutions now realize this is an asset class. It wasn't an asset class 8 months ago. I was hoping it would be. I was praying it would be. I was trying to convince people it would be. But now it's an asset class.
By the way, we could do a whole video of I told you so's today, but I'm not going to. Now, this I also agree with that he's saying.
Who's helping whom? Is the Coinbase listing juicing Bitcoin, or is Bitcoin juicing the Coinbase listing, or both?
Let's step back and let's not miss the big picture, right? This is like the Netscape moment for the cryptocurrency economy, right? Remember Netscape in 1995, 4 years before.
I believe if you went back, you might actually find a video that I titled Netscape moment at one point in the last 3 years.
We had this crazy frenzy, basically signaled the beginning of the internet age. This is a really important day for the whole crypto world, right? This is saying this is an asset class, and it's an asset class that's here to stay. And so, listen, it's somewhat irrelevant where Coinbase trades today, right? There are people that have been long it that I'm sure at one point will want to take profits. But mostly institutions are going to come flooding into this space, and we're seeing it every day. We're seeing it in Bitcoin, and we're going to see it in the public equity markets. Coinbase is the first big marquee equity that mutual funds are going to be able to say, hey, I can make my statement in crypto this way. And so I just think you don't want to miss by looking at the small technicals of what happens today.
Okay, let's see what else we have. Now, I said there's going to be a Bitcoin maxi parade on CNBC today. You won't hear a peep about Ripple or XRP from any of them. Here's why. The fear is real, and this is true too.
Bitcoin is only valuable because it's valuable. It has no technological advantage. It's actually the least advanced of all the cryptocurrencies. The least feature risk. There's no reason for it other than the fact that it exists. And if the value plummets, no one will mine it, and then you lose all your security. So the minute that it gets flipped by another cryptocurrency, unless they can find a way to actually innovate again, Bitcoin will die.
I think that's one of the best clips ever. Now, moving along, John Deaton in talking about the Coinbase IPO, I wanted to really draw your attention to this tweet. This was last night. He said, tomorrow Coinbase on its first day of trading is likely to exceed the value of Goldman Sachs. That's incredible. And David Schwartz came in and he says, this is going to be a huge wake-up call for a lot of financial institutions. A lot of boardrooms are going to have some version of, we've been a household name for 50 years, have over $1 trillion in assets under management, and this blank company is worth more than us. If they haven't been demanding a real crypto strategy before, they're going to start now. Folks, this is and then watch what these people say. Michael Arrington, now things get interesting. And then we had this from Barry Silbert. I will not be selling any of my Coinbase stock to you at $250. Then we had, now this is Yahoo Finance. Right now, I don't think it's trading yet. I think it should start trading in 12 minutes, but I'm not sure about that. Now I wanted to show you this. Back in July of 2020, Link2 had Coinbase on the platform. As I recall, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure it was around $35 on that platform. So when you watch those prices today, I want you to be thinking, that was on Link2 in July of 15th of 2020, and I could have bought it if I was an accredited investor. They're one of my sponsors. That's why I keep telling you about, look, these companies like Uphold, most of the people listening to my voice, you use Coinbase and Uphold, and I think most people will tell you Uphold's a better platform than Coinbase. Coinbase showed up to the party earlier, so they had a first mover advantage. So Uphold does not have as many users, but they just announced the other day they've got over 6 million now. So, but look at this. This is a tweet from July 19th, around the same time, 2020. Look at what the prices of those Uphold shares were back then, 30 to 45 cents. Now, they've been adding those shares. They sold out yesterday, but those shares, as I recall, were at $6.75. But just think about that in terms of this Coinbase IPO. That's why I've been talking about Link2 so much. They are a sponsor, but I'm also a customer of theirs. I buy these this private equity on their platform. I've bought Uphold on their platform. Now, I put links in the description of my videos to how to download their apps. There's also a link to their website, linqto.com, if you want to go. Now, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, to be an accredited investor now does not just involve having a lot of money or making a high income. They have, and I'm going to put that link in the description of this video. They have, Link2 has cut a deal. I can't remember the name of the company. I think it's called ExamFX. But anyway, where you can get a discount on a course to take the series, I believe it was the Series 65. The SEC passed a rule where if you take the Series 65, you will be an accredited investor if you've passed that test. I'll put that link to that deal in this video so that you can click on the link and go. If you want to go take the course to become an accredited investor, you can do so. All right, Hester Pierce put this out yesterday. Safe Harbor 2.0 is up. Thanks for all the comments on version 1. Looking forward to your feedback on this version. And then Michelle Bond, who used to be with Ripple, says, quotes Hester Pierce, says, now as a new chairman is coming into the SEC with a new agenda, is the perfect time for the commission to consider afresh how our rules can be modified to accommodate this new technology. And the way I remember this token Safe Harbor is it's a way for digital asset companies that are going to create a token for whatever reason to know that they're not going to be come after, and will have a grace period where they can work with the SEC. So along those lines, I retweeted it, and I asked a very common sense question. Would Ethereum's pre-sale ICO fundraiser have fallen under this safe harbor? Because Ethereum did not require to have a safe harbor. They were able to do an ICO without any of this. Listen to this. This is Joe Lubin, one of the founders of Ethereum, talking about his pre-sale and how it's for speculators.
We will issue a bunch of Ethereum pre-sale to people who buy it for use in their businesses, or to people who buy it for speculative reasons. We'll issue some, much smaller numbers than had previously been published, to some of the early volunteer contributors. And the rest will be issued through mining from the Genesis block. So,
okay, I just wanted to play you that little clip. And what I'm doing here is illustrating the absurdity as Ripple continues to be in this, be sued by the SEC. Ethereum did something 10 times more blatant than anything Ripple ever did. And meanwhile, they get a free pass. Nobody's doing anything about it. These guys can come in and they can say, oh, we're new guy and all that. But until they drop the lawsuit against Ripple, you can't treat Ethereum the way you did and then go after Ripple. That's not going to fly, not on this channel. You can't do it. And so as long as there's a lawsuit hanging over Ripple's head, when Ethereum did something 10 to 100 times worth, it was 10 to 100 or 1,000 times more blatant than anything Ripple ever did, and everybody knows it. I just want to make sure everybody continues to know it, because it's BS and everybody knows it. And I'm going to continue to illustrate the absurdity of this, because they need to right the wrong. Okay? Period. And everybody knows it. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that Ethereum had a pre-sale. They called it different things at different times. They called it a pre-sale, an ICO, and a fundraiser. All of the things that Jay Clayton said you just can't do, because that's what we do. If you do those things, we're going to regulate you. He said, we've been doing this for a long time, in his condescending tone. Thanks for listening.